Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to another meal prep video. In today's video, I'm going to try to get through a very quick meal prep because I actually had my grandson all day yesterday, all night last night, and then all morning. So this Nana is whooped. For breakfast prep this week, I am so excited to try a new recipe that I found. This is biscuits and gravy bake. And then for lunch prep, I'm doing Santa Fe chicken. I just have 2 dinner kits to pre-package and really nothing to do for my snacks this week. So it should be fairly quick. So if you want to see how I pull this all together for my husband and I, then stay with me. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Kristi and I'm Planning Us Healthy. If you're new here, welcome. Like I said, my name is Kristi. Currently, I'm following the WW Blue program, but on my channel, I provide points for all 3 programs, and I also give calories as well. I share a lot of what's for dinner videos, meal plans, grocery hauls, of course, my meal preps. I would love to have you as part of our family, so if you're interested, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Also click the notification bell so you're notified anytime I upload new content. So I'm going to be doing things a little bit different. I actually started the lunch last night because it is a slow cooker recipe that took 8 to 10 hours in the slow cooker, so I wanted to be able to do it overnight so that it was ready this morning. So I'm actually going to start with that clip first from last night and then come back to today. So I'm actually going to start with the lunch this week first because it's actually Saturday night and I am going to get this going tonight so that way it's ready to go in the morning for me to portion everything out. This is Crock-Pot Santa Fe chicken. This is a skinny taste recipe. This is 0 points on blue and purple, 4 points on green. And for the calories on this one, it is 183 calories. This actually makes enough for 8, but since I'm on blue, I'm just going to still make the 8 and I'm just going to portion it into the 6 containers since everything in it is 0 points for me. So if you're on green or counting calories, just keep in mind that this actually serves 8, so your calories and your points are based on 1/8 of what this is going to make. So I'm probably going to make this over brown rice, and then we may add like some sour cream, some cheese or something for additional points during the week. Each day might be I might add something different each day. Also, I want to mention any of the recipes you see in today's video, as well as any of the items I use, like my Instant Pot, my scale, any of the items you see me use or any recipes you see me sharing, those will all be listed down in the description box below. I will have direct links to the recipes and direct links for the item on Amazon as well. So let me show you how easy this is to put together. This is going to cook in, you can cook it on low for 8 to 10 hours or high for 4 to 6. So I'm going to use the slow cooker function on my Instant Pot. So let me just go through and show you everything we need. So we're going to need a 14.4 ounce can of fat-free chicken broth, which I actually have some chicken broth in here that's actually in a black bean can just so I could measure it out. So that goes in there. I have a 15 ounce can of black beans, which is that can, that I have rinsed and drained. Next we need 8 ounces of frozen corn. I have this Bird's Eye frozen corn. This is actually 10 ounces, and since I'm on blue, I'm just going to use the whole thing. The next thing we need is a 14.4 ounce can of diced tomatoes with green chilies. And if you don't like the kick, you could definitely use just regular tomatoes. So these cans that I have are 10 ounce. So I'm going to use 1.5 cans of them. Another thing you would put in at this point is a 1/4 cup of cilantro, which a lot of you know my husband doesn't like cilantro, so I'm going to leave that out. Next, I have 3 scallions or green onions that I have chopped up. And finally, in here is a mixture of 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, and a teaspoon of cayenne pepper, which I didn't have cayenne pepper, so I'm actually using some chili powder. And then just a little bit of pepper. And just mix that all up real good. And the last thing I have here is about 1.5 pounds of chicken breast. So I'm just gonna lay the chicken breast over the top and then just season it with some salt. And that is all there is to that. Now I'm gonna put the lid on. Now I'm gonna put it on slow cook for low, and I'm gonna go for 8 hours. And I'm gonna hit start. And I'm gonna actually let that go overnight. And that way it'll be done in the morning for me to put it into the containers. Okay, so this is done. So now I'm just gonna pull the chicken out and get that shredded. So now I'm going to shred up my chicken, and to shred my chicken, I just use my electric beaters. Okay, now we're just going to add the chicken back to the pot and just stir it around. So you definitely don't need to shred the chicken as much if you don't want. You could leave it in chunks if you prefer. And that will thicken after it sits. So this is where if I was on green or counting calories, I would probably weigh this out to know exactly how much to put in each dish. But since everything in here is 0 for me on blue, I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it and split it amongst the 6 dishes. Okay, now I'm just gonna throw my rice together. I'm actually using this Earthly Grains instant brown rice. I get this from Aldi. It says on this kind that 1/2 cup comes out to 2/3 of a cup. So I just use 1.5 cups of water and 1.5 cups of rice, and I'll just measure out the 1/2 cup for each portion after. So now I'm putting about 1/2 cup of rice down in the bottom of each container. If you want to be exact, you can weigh this out. Since this is one that's 0 on purple, I don't really worry about weighing it out too much. I just try and get a little bit less than half when I know I'm not getting too much. So now I'm just going to go through and just put the chicken mixture right on top. Okay, so as you can see, that is a pretty good portion. So now what I've done is I have measured out 2 tablespoons of light sour cream, which is 30 grams. So I'm gonna have that with it. So for me on blue, all I have to count is 3 points for the rice and 2 points for the sour cream. So on blue, this is 5 points with the sour cream. For green, it is going to be 9 points with the sour cream. For purple, it's gonna be 3 points, including the sour cream. And then if you're counting calories, 183 for the chicken mixture, 90 for the rice, and 35 for the sour cream. But keep in mind, again, this is enough for 8 portions that I have made into 6. So if you're on green or counting calories, make sure to portion it out into 8 rather than 6. So then the day we have this, I'm just gonna put it in the microwave for maybe about a minute. I'll take the sour cream out, put it in the microwave for about a minute, and heat it up. For breakfast prep this week, I found a recipe on the skinnyishdish.com. I had such a hard time saying that on my meal plan the other day. This is for biscuits and gravy bake. I'm really excited to try this. It looks really good. This makes 6 portions. For 1/6 of the casserole, it's 7 points on all programs, and then 273 calories. So let me show you what we're gonna need for this. We're gonna need 3/4 of a cup of reduced fat cheese. We are going to need a packet of McCormick country gravy, or she also said that you can use the Pioneer kind as well. We're going to need 8 ounces of turkey breakfast sausage, the lean kind. We're also going to need 7.5 ounces of Pillsbury buttermilk biscuits. This is actually a 10.2 ounce container, so I'm just going to weigh out the 7.5 ounces. I couldn't find the 7.5 ounce containers. And the same with this turkey sausage. I only need 8 ounces, and this is actually 16 ounces. And then the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of egg beaters or liquid egg whites. I'm actually going to be just using 6 eggs. So I'm on blue, so eggs are 0 for me. So if you're on green or counting calories, just keep that in mind that the recipe itself, the calories and points are based on the liquid eggs. All right, so I have my, that's not spraying right. So I have my oven preheated to 350 degrees, and I've sprayed my pan with some cooking spray. I actually just use olive oil in mine. So now I'm going to weigh out my turkey sausage and get that cooking. I'm actually going to just put my pan right on here, and I'm going to weigh out the 8 ounces. And then for the rest of this, I'll just throw that in my freezer and just kind of break that apart a little, and I'm going to get that cooking on my stove. So while that's cooking, now I'm going to weigh out my biscuits. So if you have a 7.5 ounce can, then you don't have to worry about weighing it out. Actually, I'll just use my bowl for now. I'm going to use this for my eggs. So we're going to do 7.5 ounces. All right, so it's going to leave a little over 1 left. I'll cook that up with dinner. My husband will eat it. Now we're just going to take the biscuits and just break them into little pieces and put them on the bottom of the pan. All right, so I should have gotten the gravy going while I got the turkey sausage going. So she says just to cook this according to the directions on the package. So for this kind, we're just going to gradually add the water. Just kind of whisk it in. And then I'm going to cook this over medium heat until it comes to a boil. And then I'm going to reduce the heat and simmer it for 1 minute. So I just took my turkey sausage off of the burner, and now I'm just going to whisk my eggs up real quick. Okay, now that everything is ready, the only other thing I did was add some water to my eggs. So I always add water, just makes them a little bit fluffier, and I figure that way it would give it just a little bit more bulk. So I added probably about maybe a 1/4 cup of water. But you don't have to do that, and it's not on the recipe instructions either. So I'm going to set the cheese aside actually, because we're not going to need that until it bakes for 20 minutes. So now take your dish with your biscuits in there. To the biscuits, we're going to add the eggs. And normally at this point I would add some salt and pepper, but because I don't know how salty that gravy mix is, I'm not going to do that. So anytime that I use packaged things like that, I try not to add any salt until the end. Now I'm going to add the gravy. Oh my gosh, y'all, I think this is going to be so good. And just make sure to try and get all that out of the pan. And finally, we're going to add in the turkey sausage. So just try to spread it out as evenly as you can. And then I'm just going to kind of get that in there. Swirl up the gravy a little bit. It doesn't say to stir it, so I don't want to disturb it too much, but I'm just trying to spread out some of that gravy in there. So now I'm going to put this in a 350-degree oven for 20 minutes. When it's done with the 20 minutes, I'm going to top it with the cheese and put it back in for 10. All right. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. Okay, now I'm just going to put the cheese all over it. All right, that's going back in the oven, 350 degrees for another 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna let it cool after before I portion it into the containers. All right, so it is done and it looks so good. So I'm gonna let that sit and cool before I put it in the meal prep containers. Okay, the breakfast is cooled, so now I'm gonna get it cut into 6 and portion it into my containers. All right, so that is it for the breakfast, and I just put a kiwi in each one. So again, 7 points on all programs and 273 calories. And I just tried this and it is absolutely delicious. Moving right along to my dinner kits. If you're new to my channel, basically this is what I do. DIY dinner kits. This is similar to like Home Chef, Blue Apron, those meal delivery kits where they send you everything that you need. It's already portioned out. I just do it myself. So the good thing with portioning these out is it doesn't allow us to overeat. So I only put enough for my husband and I in here, and that way everything's portioned. I know exactly how many points I'm going to be having. I can pre-track this if I want. I get home from work, I pull the kit out of my fridge, and it's ready to go. I'm not washing the produce or anything. I'm just, like I said, portioning it and putting it into the bag. So for this one, this is mozzarella stuffed pork chops with roasted Brussels sprouts and butternut squash. For this one, the only thing I'm not doing, I'm not putting my pork chops in the bag. Normally I have my pork chops pre-portioned, but I just bought a new pork loin at Sam's Club and I haven't portioned it out. So what I'm going to do the night that we have this, I'll portion out the pork chops then, and I'll use 2 of them for that night. So I usually use 5-ounce pork chops, sometimes 6, just depends. I use these reusable bags, which will be linked down below. And I just put what's in it. I put how many points it is for everything in the kit, including any of the sides that I'm having. So this one is 6 points on all programs, 170 plus calories. The plus is because I don't give the calories for the vegetables, just because that depends on how much you're having. So that's all I do. And so for these mozzarella stuffed pork chops, I have 1 ounce of mozzarella and I have some breadcrumbs that I just sprinkle over the top. So I have those already portioned out. I'll put half of the mozzarella, stuff it into each pork chop. And then we're going to be doing roasted Brussels sprouts and butternut squash. So I'm just going to dump my Brussels sprouts in there. And then I have some butternut squash that I had already pre-packaged. I had this in my freezer, so I'll throw this in there. And that's it. So if I was going to be having potatoes or anything, I would weigh out my potatoes, put those in there. And then, like I said, normally I would put my pork chops in there, but since I'm doing those that night, I don't have those. So that's it for that one. I only have 2 kits to do this week because one night I'm doing leftovers and one night I'm doing a sloppy joe casserole. I would not recommend putting your dinner kits out for the whole week. I usually just do maybe 3. So the next night I'm doing basil parmesan salmon with asparagus and broccoli. Normally when I have my salmon, I have rice on the side, but since I'm having rice in the lunches, I'm not going to be doing rice with this. So this is going to be 3 points on blue and purple, 6 points on green, 289 plus calories, and that is for a 5-ounce portion of salmon. So for this one, I'm just going to cut the ends off of the asparagus, throw that in the bag. And for my broccoli, again, same thing. I'm just going to cut the stalks off of it. And then the night that I have it, I'll wash everything then. And then I have my topping for my salmon, which is a mixture of light mayonnaise, Parmesan cheese, and some basil. And you can use regular basil, like basil leaves. You can use dried basil, or you can use the basil paste. In fact, that's what I have in here, is the basil paste that you get in a tube. That goes in there. And then my salmon. So normally I would just have 10 ounces of salmon in here, but on salmon night, a lot of people know when we have salmon, I cook enough salmon for our dogs. They get to have salmon with us. That goes in there. And that is it for the dinner kits. So real easy to throw those together. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time depending on what you're having. So it just makes it a lot easier when I get home from work. The kit is already, it's there, it's ready. I'm gonna pull it out and put it all together. So that is it for my dinner kits. And for snacks this week, I really don't have any snacks to prepare. So usually for my snacks, I will portion out any pretzels or crackers or anything that I'm gonna have through the week. Or sometimes I will cut up a cantaloupe, get that ready, But my snacks this week, I just have some kiwi left from last week that I'm going to have, so there's nothing to prep with that. And then the other snacks I'll have throughout the week will be pudding cups, yogurt, so things that really don't require prep. So no prep for snacks this week. So make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Put any comments down below. Let me know how you're doing with your meal prepping. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're new, I hope you'll subscribe. I'll talk to you in my next video. I'm Kristi, and I'm Planning Us Healthy. You don't want to say hi to everybody?
Hi!
So make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Put any comments down below.
You're so short. You can't even see the top of my head because how low.
Do you want to say hi? Does everybody remember Caitlin?
Why are you, did you get short?
No! Are you going to say hi?
Hey! I didn't know you were that short.
All right,
That was my food.
Caitlin came for a visit. She says hi. She's doing good. She doesn't want to be on camera too long because she said she looks like crap.
Yep.
So
I have 18 months clean on the 1st. Okay. Huh?
Molly's got to be...
What's the matter with you?